This is a basic demonstration of how to use selection tools in Photoshop. We're going to start off with some fairly basic functions and then we are going to move on to a little bit more advanced functions of each tool. So the first tool I'm going to show you is the Marquee tool. It's right here. Once you click on the Marquee tool, you can use it to select anything you want. Like let's say we wanted to get this image and select it and copy it. We'd make sure that we're on the proper layer. Once you've got the rectangular marquee around the proper thing you want to select, you can just hit Control C for copy and then go to your new layer and Control V for paste. So now I've got another copy of the image. That's all I really wanted. And if you ever want to get rid of a layer, just come over here and right click the layer and go to delete layer, and that'll get rid of it. If you were to hold down the left click, you'll notice there's an elliptical marquee tool. At this point, the elliptical marquee tool can make a circle, it can make an ellipse. If you hold down shift at any point, it'll make a perfect circle. And the same thing with the rectangular marquee, it'll make a perfect square. Now, the thing about the selection tool, if you guys notice, once I'm inside the selection, you see how it turns into a little cutout box? That means whatever's selected, I can grab and move around. If I stayed on my background and I were to grab it and move it around. Alright. Once I move outside, you notice it changes to a crosshair. That means if I click again, it'll automatically deselect what I've selected. That only works if you have a selection tool, equipped, as it were. Alright, so that is the rectangular marquee. This is the sorry about that. This is the magnetic lasso tool. Now if you guys look, there's a lasso tool, a magnetic lasso, and a polygonal lasso. The magnetic lasso is going to generally cling to things that are a certain value. If you want, you can just kind of hold it down and it's going to select pretty close to things that are, once it finds an edge, it's going to want to select that thing. And you just can drag it around. Now this is kind of a neat way to quick select something that you don't need a really clean selection around. If you guys notice, it turns into a little circle here. And once I click on that, it's selected. So I'm going to click out here. Well, anytime you start selecting something with the magnetic lasso and you don't want it anymore, you can just hit the escape key and it'll stop. Alright, so the polygonal lasso works a little bit differently. This works like if you wanted to click out a certain area, like let's say we wanted to get rid of just a little part of this, you can just kind of click back and forth and make whatever kind of polygon shape you wanted to. So if we wanted to get rid of it, we could get rid of that. And the regular lasso just is a loose drawing, so whatever you draw is going to be selected. Now the magic wand tool is the best tool to select things that are a similar value. So if I wanted to select this blob here, for example, I just take my magic wand tool and I click it. You have to actually be on the right layer first. I click it just like this. Alright, and that means that this whole area is selected now and I can now play with it. Now you might ask yourself, what's the point of selecting something? It kind of acts as a masking tape, and the program will not permit you to make any kind of a mark outside of a selection, so you could get as wild as you want with it, going different directions or whatever, and it's not going to go outside that bounding box. Now, the thing about any selection tool, if you guys notice up here, there's a few different types of selections you can make. Like anytime you try to make a new selection, if it's on the new selection thing, every time I do one, it's going to try and make a new selection. Now the problem with that is sometimes you want to select more than one thing. If you want to, what you can do is you can go over to here and click Add to Selection. That way, every time you make a new selection, it's going to continue to fill in these spaces. So if you wanted to select something a little strange, you could do that with the marquee tool. You could do the elliptical marquee tool and have different kinds of crazy selections. Like like that. You can use the selection tool to make shapes if you want it. Also, if you want to add to a selection, you can also hold down the Shift key. If you guys notice, when I have my magic wand, if I hold down the Shift key, a little plus sign appears. That means that everything I click is going to continue to add to this selection. So, if you look up here, there's various tool changes every time you change a tool. Like the magic wand tool has a tolerance, so you can turn the tolerance up or down, which will mean you'll select more. It'll select things that are a lot closer in value. So if you're trying to select something with the magic wand tool and it won't select the whole thing, just turn the tolerance down and it'll hit everything. Alright, so those are the basics of selection, and more to come later.